I was going to say was Rachel, I think, giving you guidance. I think you spoke on how you want structures to broken down and give it. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, there we go. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday to y'all. Hope your week is doing well. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm getting a couple of messages. We cannot hear you. Maybe I just started, though. Can you hear me now? Okay, great. All right, good morning, everybody. So our Training Tuesdays, what we're going to talk about today is that new required field in BidBuy, the notice of award amount. We talked about this last week, but I just want to, perhaps maybe you weren't on the call, and we just want to run through that again so everybody's on the same page moving forward. New job aids that have been posted to reflect that new notice of award amount field as a required field. Adding vendors at the requisition. So for those small purchases under $10,000 is really what we're looking at for this issue. What we have found is if you have a lot of vendors and you select all, and you go in and you look up all your vendors. If there's more than one page, if you just select that upper left-hand corner checkbox that says select all and then click save and exit, it's not adding everybody on those pages that come after that. It's adding just that first page. So we'll walk through that just to make sure that we are getting our requisitions and collecting our quotes from all our vendors that we need to as well. The BidBuy monthly trainings, we had some new dates that were added. I did announce this last week, but I want to make sure that everybody knows. We will have 4 dates that are available for BidBuy monthly training. 2 of them are already full, but we do have January 16th and January 29th as well. Some of the questions that we had regarding that training is, will this training encapsulate BidBuy version 15? The answer is yes. We'll be training from here on out. All of our trainings are going to be on version 15. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a second. Just a scheduling thing. There will not be a Training Tuesday next Tuesday. That's Christmas Eve, and I will be out of the office. And then we'll have our fun fact. So speaking of BidBuy version 15, it's coming very soon. We are still looking at a late January, early February go live date. Testing is underway. We have talked about this the last week or so. Hey, really quickly too, if you weren't on the Tuesday call last week, if you go out to the training center on the CPOGS site, I would highly suggest taking a look at what the BidBuy version 15 is. I did a little sneak peek for that last week, so that way you can kind of get your eyes on it and take a look at it. I'm going to be working on some other videos this week. Like I said, next week is going to be kind of tough because I'll be out of the office most of the week. However, once we get back into that week after that, we'll be full on into training on BidBuy. You'll see a lot more videos, procurement method videos, general navigation videos, those sorts of things. So a lot of training is going to be coming your way, but you can let your people know that late January, early February is still the date for version 15. And as well, all agencies are going to go live on the same date. I know we talked about this over the last couple of weeks, but we're still getting some of those questions. Yes, it will be, everybody will go live on the same exact date. Okay, so let's talk about this new field in BidBuy, and this is going to be at the PO stage only. So it's the notice of award amount. So this includes all your renewal items, and it should match the NOA that's attached at the bid stage. And just a quick note in terms of small purchases, as you're aware, small purchases don't technically require a quote notice of award, but this field is still going to be required. And really what this is for is it's for reporting purposes. So that way you can go in and run reports off of any of these fields that we have here. And so that notice of award amount is going to be the easiest way to go back and look at how many awards that your agency made in for the fiscal year, for instance, or for this quarter, or however you'd like to set up your reports. There was a question about a release off master. It's in a similar fashion. There isn't technically a notice of award for a release off master. However, that still will be a required field And really, like I said, it all comes down to the reporting functionality is the reason that this is here. And so it was set up. Let's see, I have another question popping up. When a purchase order is done on purchases under $20,000, are they required to be signed? Good answer, or a good question, because that's something that you guys probably deal with all the time. The over $20,000 needing to be signed is a comptroller requirement. Um, we we would love to be able to have the comptroller accept the purchase order, the BidBuy print purchase order, but that is a comptroller requirement, so it doesn't need to be signed for those over 20. However, if it's under $20,000, it's not being obligated by the comptroller, so no, it would not need to be signed. That's the way I understand it. If any other SPOs on the call have any different take on that, please let me know. That's the way I've always been trained. Okay. I thought I had everybody muted. Just in case, if you guys aren't muted, I think I might have got them right there. Okay. So back to this notice of award amount. It was required starting yesterday, December 16th. So any of those purchase orders that were in ready to send status and then for whatever reason didn't get sent by yesterday, yesterday late morning, I believe, is when it became required. It's no big deal. All you have to do is you have to go in and create a new purchase or create a change order, and then you'll go in and just add that notice of award amount. So what you're going to end up seeing is any of those POs from here on out, if this notice of award amount isn't completed, you'll get one of those red validation errors that's just going to pop up, and you'll just need to go in and complete that on the general tab. And it's right below the full SAP contract value field there. So job aids were posted yesterday. The IFB, RFP, sole source, both small purchase job aids were updated to include that notice of award amount field. So really, this has kind of been a project for us over the last few months and updating all these job aids. And we've received some great feedback from some agency personnel on, helping walk through these things and finding some, small little errors and those sorts of things. So we certainly appreciate that, and we definitely suggest you keep bringing those. So if you guys ever come across something on a job aid that just doesn't sit right or doesn't seem right, please let us know, because we want to make sure that you guys can use those job aids as just walking through each one of your steps, so that you can look at what needs to be attached, when and where, and just to make the process easier for you. So those new job aids are out there. You can always go back and see the version numbers. So those have changed. So we're up to, IFB 20.3, for instance. Sole source, I think, is the 20.2. Small purchase 20.3, etc. So we always want to remind you to make sure you're looking back and looking at the most recent one and double checking that version number is the same one that you're using. Okay. So now let's talk about adding vendors at the requisition stage. So really the only procurement method that we're going to be adding vendors at this requisition stage and collecting quotes is that small purchase under $10,000, because just as a quick reminder, if it's a small purchase over $10,000, it will be going to the bid stage and the vendors would be added at the bid stage. However, since the small purchase under $10,000 goes from rec and it collects all the quotes and then goes directly to purchase order, we skip that bid stage. And there's something kind of funny that happens within the system when you're adding vendors at the requisition stage. If there's more than one page of vendors listed, you need to select this save and add new page in order to select all vendors. So you need to actually add them by page. And so what I'd like to do is actually go out and show you this real quick. So I'm going to go out to, we have train. I'm going to go in here so you guys can see that a little bit easier. So I just have just a rec pulled up in train, and I'm going to look up and add vendors, right? So I look up and add vendors. It brings up a pop-up so I can look at, search for all the parameters I want to search for. So in this instance, let's say I'm just going to grab a couple NIGP code here, and I'm going to go for the small business set-aside program, right? So I select yes for that, and I select find it. Now, in this instance, I only have the one page. So if I scroll down to the bottom, you're going to see that I don't have the Save and New Page button here. So this means there's only one page here. As soon as I select the upper checkbox there and save and exit, it's going to add all those vendors, right? So that kind of makes sense. That's very similar to what you guys are going to be seeing. However, if I was to go in and look up and add vendors, and I just need to do something where it's just going to be a bunch of them. Let's say I'm just going to look up all the small business CSS vendors. That wouldn't be what you would do, but I want to get to a point where you see there's a bunch of pages here. If I select the top left-hand corner, I could see it. I could understand where you would think it's selecting all of them. However, it is only selecting all on this page. So I need to scroll and hit Save and Next Page. So if I hit Save and Next Page, now it's going to bring up the next page of all of these vendors. And up here you can see that this is the 26 through 50 of the vendors. I select them, save and next page, etc., etc. So that way you'll have to do that for each page. Now, depending on what you're purchasing, you may never come across that. It holds 25 on each page, so chances are on a lot of your procurements, you don't actually have 25 small business vendors for your rec. However, it'll come into play a little bit more if you get a waiver and then now you're going out to all vendors. There's more of a chance that you're going to have more than 25 in that instance. So is there any question about that? I know it looks to be there's a few extra clicks there and everything, but we really just want to make sure that all the vendors are receiving their notifications as appropriate. Okay, so that's adding vendors at the requisition stage. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can always reach out to the cpogs.training email. So the new monthly BidBuy training dates are added. We do have Thursday, January 16th, Wednesday, January 29th. They're both will be running 10 a.m. to about 3:30 p.m. with a break for lunch. It's at the CDB Computer Lab at the Stratton Building, room 320. And this is really set up for those new to BidBuy because we're going to be talking about general navigation, releases off masters, small purchases, just that general workflow into BidBuy. Like I mentioned earlier, there will be further training on 15 in terms of just the differences between 13 and 15. That's just going to be a webinar. It's going to be recorded for everybody. But if you do have new folks that are going to be new to the system, this is a perfect opportunity to get in there and get immersed in the system and get that kind of checked off so they can, and certainly if they need to get access to BidBuy, if you're new, then you need to be able to get through the training, and then we can sign off and get your login info and credentials up and running. Let's see. So I have question here. I got on late, but does this apply only to adding vendors for the requisition stage? Yes. So if you're doing at the bid stage, at the bid stage, you don't have to do that. This is just for those at the requisition stage. So this is only applying to small purchases less than $10,000. So if you're going to bid and you go in and you have 100 vendors, and if you select that one box at the top, it's just for some reason the system operates differently from the requisition stage versus if it's at the bid stage. Okay, so I definitely want to be clear there. Okay, good. And it looks like we have just got an update from our training specialist, Derek. We have 10 spots available for January 16th, and there are 6 spots available for January 29th. So that'll probably fill up pretty quickly, and we'll do our best to accommodate additional training, but that may end up going into February a little bit. Okay, so we have those 2 dates. Thanks for that, Derek. Appreciate it. Will that note regarding vendors be added to the job aid? Yes, it will. Yep, we will add that to it in terms of the process there. Okay, so we get to our fun fact. Looks like, can you provide the information about the vendors in a note to also? Yes. So same sort of thing. I'm going to be adding that to the small purchase job aid, so that that is clear that you would select save and add new page. Okay. Thank you. So our fun fact for December 17th, in 1903, the Wright brothers make their first control-powered heavier-than-air flight in the Wright Flyer at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. The first flight actually was only up for like 12 seconds, something like that. But I really like this fun fact because it actually turns into a procurement with the U.S. Military. So in 1907, U.S. Army was showing interest in the Wright brothers. Rather than directly offering them a contract, they announced that they would actually go out to bid to construct an airplane. The Wright brothers, the design and performance specifications was the only viable option for the Army. So the first contract for the heavier than air flying machine, which is essentially the first U.S. military airplane, was awarded in 1908 for $25,000 to the Wright brothers. Okay, so do we have any other questions regarding anything else? Okay, there's our email if you have any questions, as well as if you want to get registered for the January trainings. I'm hoping to have a couple February trainings set up by the next time that we speak. And just for any of you new folks, I just want to double check. Actually occurs to me, why don't I go out and show you where all these Training Tuesday videos are. So if you go to the CPOGS website, right here in the left-hand side, the light bulb with the brain in it has the training center, and it's going to link directly to all our videos here. So like I was talking about earlier, if you want to go and take a look at the video I did last week, which was the sneak peek of version 15 in BidBuy, you can go and check that out here. Maybe. Well, that's going really slow. Anyway, I promise you it's there. If you link on that, you'll see the PDFs. There it is. You can see all the videos, the slides, etc. for each week that go back to the last couple months. So, and there's also the titles here, so you can kind of see what if you want to go catch up on what we were talking about over the last couple weeks, last couple months, you can go and check those out. They're all really short. They're all 15 to 20 minutes, something like that. All right, everybody. Speaking of 15 to 20 minutes, 9:19. Everybody have a great week. I won't see you next week, so everybody have a great happy holidays, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Thank you.